Members of the executive arm of government, ministers, permanent secretaries, and select heads of agencies and departments early this month convened at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi district for a first-of-its-kind retreat for soul-searching on failed public service delivery and devising an action blueprint. Endemic corruption, which has permeated every pocket of government, came out strongly as a key talking point, as it has continued to cripple service delivery.
The IGG estimates that the country loses Uganda shillings 9.7 trillion per year on account of corruption. This is not acceptable. Therefore, corruption should be crushed and will be crushed.
As trillions of shillings are siphoned, the electorate continues to die as a result of negligible diseases, pupils take classes under trees, and mothers give birth by the roadside, creating one of the most uneven societies.
The corruption we are facing now has got two dimensions. One dimension is the stealing of government money, taking bribes from the public to provide government services, misusing the procurement procedures to cheat the state, and corruptly handling personnel issues, e.g. nepotism, and selling government jobs.
Inexplicably, 6 years ago, in his 2018 State of the Nation address, the President wondered why he and central government officials should be harassed for service delivery, yet there is no part of Uganda where there is no branch of the government.
There is a government at the district, elected and appointed. There is a government at the sub-county. And there is a government at the parish, the Muruka chief. There is no good reason, therefore, why the president and the central government should be harassed for this whole hierarchy of the structures not doing their jobs.
The July 2024 retreat came against the backdrop of high-octane protests powered by the youth next door in Kenya over, among others, an incompetent government and the high cost of living, with new proposed taxes in the Finance Bill 2024 that was ultimately
Almighty
shelved.
God, when you assembled and granted me as in your presence, treat and consider matter that shall come at the deliberation is so just and faithful in manner to promote your honor and glory.
Closer to home, Parliament has since the beginning of the year been mired in gross financial mismanagement that borders on criminal conduct, while discontent has been brewing over tax hikes and poor services, including the poor state of roads. Like a pet subject, President Museveni and his technocrats have committed to tame graft, through which the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, revealed the country bleeds an estimated 9 trillion shillings. Good laws and policies have been enacted, as well as offices, to fight graft, but often anti-graft czars appointed are jesters, too pliant to take action, selectively target and prosecute for political gain, or if they go after regime cronies, they are sidelined. In 2019, the President created the State House Anti-Corruption Unit to reinforce the IGG's office. This month, he created the State House Revenue Intelligence Unit to check on graft seeping through the Uganda Revenue Authority. At Chankwanzi, he hinted at creating 2 additional units to check on the Office of the Auditor General and PPDA, the Public Procurement Authority.
The
president keeps on, constituting new entities that are under State House. And to me, I'm thinking he does that simply because he sees there are no results that are coming through the mainstream and corruption entities, which to me is more of a vote of no confidence to those institutions. Yet they are mandated by the law.
So I believe that inside him he wants to address this problem, and I think that's why he's saying, I'm now serious, I'm going to fight corruption. But this is a monster that he left to grow. It has grown, and it may not be easy for him to address now than when he had the chance to do that.
He will keep, duplicating roles. Then he'll create State House Anti-Corruption Unit. Then he will create a unit to fight those who are corrupt, within Uganda investment, those who are, trying to get bribes from investors and so on. Now there's something called, a unit to fight against corruption in URA, headed by a former convict, by the way. If you think that the current Inspector General of Government, or whatever the case might be, is not active enough, you strengthen that institution. Give it independence to do its work. Because even these small little units that he's creating, they will not go after people he doesn't want them to go after.
Endemic corruption has earned its place in Uganda as it permeates every pocket of society, from sacred places like temples of justice to the cloistered halls of ministries, agencies, and departments, as well-placed civil servants chase the gravy train. A quick scan of audits by the Auditor General, PPDA, and Inspectorate of Government indicates that public funds are siphoned through wastage and mismanagement, dubious expenditures, under-collection of local revenues, persistent medicine stockouts, poor records keeping, you name it. Name any local government entity, district, municipal and town councils or sub-county and check the Auditor General's report of any year. The red flags always recur. In central government, the plundering, squandering and misspending of government money mostly manifests through procurement deals for goods and services. The Inspectorate of Government says in procurement, officials plan stealing right from the planning stage throughout the different phases to the execution of the project. But often as soon as the audit or investigation reports are shared, everyone moves on. The leader of the opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, argued that the president is being held hostage by his own system.
Mr. Museveni is under siege in many respects. On the one hand, he will say he wants to fight corruption, but on the other, he seems to foster it, he seems to fuel it. Over the years, in the past, people would get censured over corruption and then he would reinstate them. Overwhelming allegations against many of his government officials and then he brings them closer. Yeah? So you cannot preach water and then drink wine and you expect people to take you serious. No, it just cannot happen.
Add to the mix the selective application of justice.
There's overwhelming evidence against many government officials and he has not taken any action. He will sometimes, go after some of these small fellows and make it seem like, yes, we are moving in the right direction, but we are not.
According to Global Integrity, a Washington, D.C.-based non-profit organization that tracks governance and corruption trends, the police, the judiciary, and procurement are areas where corruption risks are very high and under-the-table cash payments are expected. This persists as those implicated in massive corruption scandals often received a slap on the wrist and others were reappointed to coveted positions as long as they did not threaten the president's power base. The ragtag liberators of the country pontificated 39 years ago that corruption and other ills in society drove them to pick up arms to fight a costly war in the Luweero Triangle. Elimination of corruption and misuse of power was point number 7 in the 10-point program, the National Resistance Movement Policy Prescription. Decades after taking the reins and exalted like nobles, men and women have replaced the long-lasting image of haggard and shabbily dressed commanders with expensive tastes. The leaders traded their constituents as pawns in a clientele patronage system, as politicians and their surrogates became the wealthiest class in society, while the ruled were pushed to the lowest rungs, awaiting crumbs from their masters. One does not require to conduct a lifestyle audit to prove how corrupt officials have amassed ill-gotten wealth. IGG Betty Kamya, whose office is established under Article 223 of the 1995 Constitution to, among others, foster the elimination of corruption, abuse of authority, and of public office, upon assuming office in 2021, vouched for a lifestyle audit which for long had been met with both disdain and resistance. The president, who was there to launch the same initiative, immediately poured cold water on it.
Now, the lifestyle audit is good, but be careful, because we are still lucky that our corrupt people are corrupt here. They steal the money, they put it there. You see a five-star hotel from corruption. Now, if you only concentrate on the lifestyle, then they will take the money out. And you'll have no evidence here. It will be another struggle.
The executive director of the NGO Anti-Corruption Coalition Uganda, Marlon Agaba, says the president's tough talking is an attempt to placate the corruption-fatigued public.
Like right now, you wouldn't point to any center of morality in this country because basically corruption has permeated all sections of society, whether public or private, has become like a norm. That's why even if arrest 10 or 20 or 50, the problem is still there. So unless really we address the whole issue of absolute political will to fight to address the problem of corruption.
He argued that graft is too big an animal for the president to take down.
There is a very close relationship when you look at our politics and corruption. When you look at, for instance, acquiring office, it's a commercialized process where we're having prospective leaders putting a lot of money. I think on average there are studies that have been done that member of parliament will spend up to $1 billion to get elected. So when they get office, they want to recover that money. So in other words, corruption really is at the core of our governance in this country.
After vowing to eradicate it, as stated in the 10-point program, about 1 month into office, the first scandal of abuse of office involving a civil servant unfolded when the general manager of the defunct Uganda airline, Ben Ochola, ordered for a recall of the plane, which had been airborne for more than 30 minutes, back to the ground. Then came the Santana vehicle saga, the worst corruption case in the late 80s, to a floodgate of cases in the 1990s, from the gangster-style pillaging and stripping of Uganda Commercial Bank to the opaque privatization of state enterprises through auction, management buyout, asset and share sales, and transfer of ownership to the private sector, to billions of shillings pilfered in dubious deals, the Northern Ugandan Recovery Aid, pension sagas, among others from 2000 to date. Over the last years, reports abound about tampering of appropriations in the national budget, usually through connivance between MPs and technocrats in the Ministry of Finance. This plundering reached a crescendo in May this year, weeks to the reading of the 2024-2025 national budget, after it emerged that MPs had repurposed, reallocated or readjusted 750 billion shillings behind the back of the Ministry of Finance officials, and after the budget had been passed. Several MPs have been arrested, charged and remanded as a result, while several others are said to be under investigation. In the same vein, several officials have been charged in relation to causing financial loss and conspiring to steal cooperatives' union cash. The individuals under investigation are still innocent until proven guilty. The program's manager at Transparency International, Gerald Pade Auku, said corruption in Uganda is entrenched and acceptable.
Corruption in Uganda is in increase, and it is systematic, entrenched, and acceptable.
Auku said there's also a misdiagnosis of the problem.
If he was diagnosing it well, he wouldn't be creating piecemeal of other entities. And that makes coordination very difficult. They come with a lot of power because they know they report direct to the president.
In this year's State of the Nation address, President Museveni re-echoed for the upteenth time that stamping out graft would be his priority like never before.
I have been hearing that from Ministry of Finance, they arrange with the accounting officers of ministries to come to Parliament, working with some people there, to provide certain funds, provided you take a share. I didn't believe this, but now I have proof.
Invariably, the president had always lamented that he cannot act if he is not availed with the names of suspects and cogent evidence.
You saw what was happening in Parliament. Overwhelming evidence of corruption. He goes to Bukedia and he says, no. You don't disturb the speaker, don't disturb these people and that kind of thing. So you cannot pretend to fight corruption when you are out there defending the corrupt.
Most connected individuals around can easily jump the hook. And that's why you see some of their cases of the so-called, what Ugandans nowadays call a big fish. Some of their, when the reports of investigations, sometimes, in most cases, they are shelved. That's why sometimes they are delayed. Yeah? They are delayed, through, of course, judiciary, through the judiciary. You find that it goes through the process. Like the case of the MPs, the Mabati saga, for example, that is the latest issue that is still in Ugandans' mind. How far has it moved? Isn't it now coming to 2 years?
Year in, year out, the president has made a threat here and there. However, it is until the arrest of MPs on budget fraud in June, and several said to be under investigation, that the president has walked the talk. Critics have argued that beyond rhetoric, he needs to offer pragmatism in regard to combating this Achilles heel. In his address to ministers and permanent secretaries, the president urged the judiciary to place corruption in the category of offenses that are not considered for bail. Whether the president is just fear-mongering this time around remains a subject of debate. And while he cannot change the long history of graft cases like the junk chopper deal, the gangster-style pillaging and stripping of Uganda Commercial Bank, the pension scandal, the theft of aid money for the recovery of northern Uganda, he and his acolytes have the chance to reverse the course of things by proving that there are no sacred cows and ensuring that those implicated in graft receive the harshest penalties and their properties confiscated.